Hey there everybody, this is Franco, and I just got a new toy. It's the XYZ Da Vinci Pro 1.0, and I've spent a couple hours this weekend playing with this thing, and I've had a real good time. It's, you're probably really familiar with the specs if you're watching this video, but this is the open source printer from XYZ. You can use their proprietary filament, or you can buy your own filament from whoever, and all the temperature settings and everything are open and adjustable. It has a heated aluminum bed. It has a volume of, or a printable volume 7.8 by 7.8 by 7.8 inches, and I guess its resolution is anywhere from 0.4 all the way down to 0.1 millimeters. And it's a, I guess, a single head printer, so it can only run one filament at a time, but pretty cool. Paid $5.50 for it, bought it from Newegg, and I am really happy with it. It's, I think, a pretty good deal. Plus the fact, I guess you can put a laser engraver in it. I think you can put a scanner in it too. It's wireless. It's pretty awesome, I think, for the money. So long story short, I have a lot of little metal parts that I would normally make out of aluminum that I'm pretty sure I can print on a 3D printer. So this video, I'll try to give you sort of my story here this weekend with it, but just a quick synopsis. The printer shipped with ABS material. So that's what I've been experimenting with, and I'm told ABS is a little harder to work with. So I got a couple of different things here. This was the first thing I printed. It had one or two little hiccups in it. I didn't quite understand the settings. So moved on, learned a little bit more, got a little bit better result. But I got the warpage. I don't know if you can see that. The corner's kind of warped. So, this part is probably strong enough and square enough and straight enough to do what I need it to do, but the warpage on the bottom of it really bothered me. So, played with a little bit more. I printed one where I tried putting glue on the bed and rafting the bottom of it, changed the design a little bit too. That worked really well, but I didn't like the rafting. The rafting sort of ripped the bottom of the print apart a little bit. I didn't really like the way that it looked. So messed around with the settings some more and used the glue, but no rafting, and I finally got a really nice part. So this part is, I think the resolution on this was 0.3. The infill or whatever, the density was set to 30%, honeycomb style. I printed it like this on the bed. There were no supports. It did the overhangs really well. This part is plenty strong enough to do what I want it to do. It's nice and square, it's flat, and I was shocked. The sizes are actually pretty accurate. Let's see if I can get this to work. So this thing was supposed to be 1.7, so it's within 10 thou of being what I want, which amazes me. This side was supposed to be 1.5, pretty close, and it does the best job in the Z direction. So if I can manipulate this, it's like right on the money in Z, 0.9. Very impressive. I actually really surprised by that. So, well, maybe it's a little bit undersized, but pretty good. So, really happy with it. If you care to see how I got from point A to point B with this thing, you can watch the rest of the video, but otherwise, that is the real quick rundown with the XYZ Da Vinci Pro 1.0. For $550, I think this is pretty amazing. Software is pretty good, and yeah, I don't regret buying this thing at all, not one bit. So thanks for watching. I usually am playing around with metal cutting, and but I figured it was time to get into 3D printing, so picked myself up the XYZ Da Vinci 1.0 Pro. All right, so box is opened up, and here is what is inside of it. So just realized this, the Da Vinci 1.0 Pro Quick Guide starts out with directions on how to take it out of the box and unpack it. So probably worth looking at before you get too crazy. So once you unstrap it, it just lifts up around the printer. So that's pretty nice if they put that much thought into the packaging material. And then I can only imagine they've put some thought into the printer too. Okay, so this thing is not small. It's like 18 inches wide, 22 inches deep, like 20 inches tall. So you need to have some space for this thing wherever you're going to set it up. So this thing is unpacked, and I got to tell you, it was just full of all kinds of foam and styrofoam and cable ties, things like that. Very, very, very substantially prepared for shipping and transit. So be prepared to spend 10 minutes just pulling out all the interlocking foam pieces and tape and things like that were inside of this thing. But I think I have it fully unpacked and unstrapped, so try to power this thing up. All right, so I just powered this thing up. The lights came on, it moved around, it made some cool noises. And the very first thing the software wants to do is update the firmware and download the latest version of the XYZware. Firmware and the software have been updated. The printer has been powered up. I followed the procedure that's called out on pages 9 and 10, and I was able to get the Wi-Fi connected. So I think we're pretty good. So my wife was nice enough to get me this little table to put my printer on, so I got a little bit better arrangement here to get at it. Just did the routine to load the filament, and the directions on the lid are pretty close to what you need to do. And the directions that come on a little sheet of paper are pretty good. One thing that threw me, and you really can't see it, but in order to load the filament, you have to use this little lever to release the mechanism here where the two rollers are. I don't know if you can see them, but there's two rollers in there. You have to pull this lever back to release the tension on the rollers, and then you can feed the filament through and follow the instructions just like they tell you. Follow the instructions on the screen, and what it will do is shoot some filament out of the extruder nozzle. Can't really get a good shot at it. It'll shoot some filament out of the nozzle. It'll kind of like dangle down here, and when you're happy with it, you just press OK, and you're good to go. So after flipping through the manual that comes with it, it seems like they're sort of like the pages are like in a logical order, step by step, what to do to get started. So it seems like the next thing to do is a print bed adjustment. So I just initiated that, and it's just kind of warming things up, asking me to wait. So I'm assuming that once it's up to a proper temperature, it'll take off and do something. So we will see what happens. Huh, look at this. On level bed, adjust now? Sure. Tips for turning. 1 step 90 degrees, 4 steps 1 circle. Alright, well, let me go read the manual and figure out what that means. Okay, so that first little screen was just like a help screen to explain what the steps and circles mean. The manual explains that too. So turn the front knob to the left 7.7 steps. Okay, to go to the next step. So that's the front knob, and each little detent is a step. So it wants 7.7 steps. So, all right, give that a shot. So the next thing is turn right knob forwards 8 steps. All right. I'm assuming that means towards me. So we'll try that. Okay. So the directions actually clarify that. So this is what that means. The front knob to the left, to the right, right knob, forward, backwards, left knob, forward, backwards. So, okay. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Maybe that's too technical. So, forwards, backwards. I got it. Left knob, backwards, 5.5 steps. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a half. Okay, so I guess we have to warm back up again, and then we're going to check it again. Perfect level. Hey, all right. Awesome. According to the instructions, the next thing you need to do is put one of these giant sheets of masking tape on the print bed, which we have done. So let's just go ahead and see if we can do a test print. Or a build sample. Demo, keychain, heart, well, I'll go with keychain. Start building, yes. All right, I guess we need to warm up. Huh. Well, there it goes. Well, guess this is going to take a while. All right, so we are at 87%. It's just printing its little heart out. So far, so good. So the printing's finished. Now it is cooling off. Alright, so apparently my building is complete, and this thing is lowering the table. Okay, hey. So they gave me this nifty paint scraper. Let's just see here. Look at that. Look at that. So might as well get that stuff off there too. So this was a sample part. I don't know what the settings are. I just know it was built into the printer. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Alright, well, I guess I ought to try to print something useful. Printing the keychain was lots of fun. That was cool. Now I have to do something practical. Here is a metal part that I usually make out of aluminum that I hope I can make out of plastic on this 3D printer. So let's give it a try. So, import in inches. There it is. All these little icons up here are pretty self-explanatory. Pretty easy to figure out this interface. And there's a document online, but pretty simple stuff. I'm going to hit print, and up pops the screen. I'm going to click print, and apparently I'm printing with ABS. I did not know that. Slicing complete. Print. Wow, don't know what that means. Don't know what that means. Receiving from wireless. So there's some gunk in there. That's interesting. Well, I just realized that I did not have the settings in that print that I thought I had. When you're preparing your job, like when you hit print, for instance, all these settings pop up, and I did not have them set correctly. So, but I'll show them to you because this is supposed to be one of the benefits of the Pro, that you can change all these things. So apparently I'm printing ABS. I didn't know that. I thought I had PLA, so that explains why I'm seeing the corners roll up just a little bit. General, I would like to have, what I want it to do is set my layer height to 0.3. I want the shell thickness to be 3 layers everywhere. And I wanted my infill density to be 40%. The first job I sent over there was at 10%, so we'll see how that comes out. And I wanted it to be honeycomb, but I think I'm getting rectilinear, so we'll see. I don't think this first part's going to be very strong. Speed, everything was defaulted at 30. I made my small radius 15, And I only did that because I noticed when my print job here just began, the first couple of little circles peeled off the masking tape. So I'm going to slow that down and see what happens. I guess there's this thing here. I don't know what auto speed adjustment for small parts does, but maybe I should let it do that. I don't know. Let's see. We'll hit save. Yeah, overwrite. Supports. Haven't played with that. Guess I'll learn about that later. Retraction. Don't know much about that. Figure that out too. And extrusion ratio. So there you go. Those are the settings. Well, first print is not a total success. Got some crud stuck in it, which I was warned that might happen. Apparently this is ABS. I thought this was PLA. I've been told ABS is a little harder to work with, so I'm going to go back and change some settings and try to print this part again. Metal part. First plastic part, 10% infill, had a little goober there, messed up, but that part's not too bad, but just not quite strong enough. So I went to I got a little bit carried away. I did a 50% infill, increased the layer thickness, or the number of layers on top and bottom. This part is really strong, stronger than it needs to be, but I have the dreaded ABS plastic warpage on the bottom of my part. So, did a little reading. Going to try changing the infill. I don't need it as dense. Tried changing the number of layers for top and bottom. And I did something called a raft, which hopefully will help this out a little bit. Also threw some glue on my bed. So the DaVinci Pro software has all these cool settings. It makes it pretty easy to try all these things. So hopefully this will work. And here we go. Actually, we're printing right now. So let's see what happens here. I also slowed down the speed on the first layer. And tried to, there's some little setting for radii, circles. So for circles under 1/4 inch, I slowed down that as well. Good news. So that printed really well. It seemed to stick to the platform or the bed or whatever you call that thing, the heated bed. So I'm not sure if it was the rafting that I added or the glue stick, but it's definitely a more accurate print. And I even was able to get pretty good overhangs. I thought that was actually going to be a problem, but the overhangs came out pretty well. But the rafting kind of ripped the bottom of the part a little bit. While I was removing the rafting from the part, I actually had to just touch this on a belt sander really gently to smooth the bottom down. So I am going to try printing just one more time with no rafting. I'm just going to try the glue because the glue seemed to work. This thing was really hard to pry off the masking tape. In fact, I had to tear the masking tape a little bit to get this thing off. So I'm going to try this one more time, no rafting, and glue. Yeah, it stayed nice and flat. I guess that's what you would call good bed adhesion. So let's see if I can get it off there and check it out.